Very soon, actor Alec Baldwin will be charged with involuntary manslaughter for accidentally shooting dead cinematographer Halyna Hutchins on the set of their movie Rust. Now, prosecutors in New Mexico have until the end of the month to formally file charges against Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. Now, the authorities say that together, they are responsible for Halyna's death because between them, they failed to make sure that the gun Alec Baldwin was filming with was safe. Now, both Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez-Reed say that they will fight these charges. Baldwin's attorney called them a terrible miscarriage of justice. The reaction to the prosecution's decision to charge Baldwin was mixed. On one hand, friends of Halyna Hutchins and her family celebrated this as a milestone after months of excruciating investigation. Her widower, Matthew, said that he supported the prosecution and that he would be willing to cooperate with their case going forward.
You know, at the end of the day, he's the producer, so he actually does have responsibility, I think, both morally and criminally for what happened.
Mr. Baldwin had a duty at the base level to never hold a gun and point it at a person while pulling the trigger. But he also had a duty as an actor and a producer on that set to have the bullets checked or to check them himself.
In fact, other actors themselves have previously talked about how they personally inspect any weapon they use.
Every single time I'm handed a gun on a set, every time, Mark, they hand me a gun, I look at it, I open it, I show it to the person I'm pointing it to, we show it to the crew. Every single take, you hand it back to the armor when you're done.
Baldwin's fans and fellow actors have been left shocked by this decision. Many said that he should have been able to rely on the film's armorer and the prop masters when it came to gun safety. And some even went as far as to say that he was only being charged because he's famous. When prosecutors announced the decision to bring charges, they explained that they would have to file them formally with the court by the end of the month. And the reason for it was to allow the prosecutors around 10 days to give media interviews about the case. The next legal step is a probable cause hearing. That's where a judge will decide whether or not there's enough evidence for this case to move forward. Alec Baldwin's attorneys will no doubt try to use this probable cause hearing as an opportunity to get these charges dismissed. Now, if the judge decides that there is enough evidence to proceed, this case will go to trial. And for Alec Baldwin to be convicted, prosecutors will have to show that he himself recklessly ignored his duties and his due caution by failing to make sure that this gun was safe. There are still two major questions. How did live bullets end up on this film set? And did Alec Baldwin pull the trigger of the gun or not? The only bullets that were meant to be there on the set were dummy rounds. How a live round ended up on the set, much less in the gun, remains a mystery. Baldwin and others have suggested that it was armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed who wanted to have live bullets around. They said that she'd even been seen practicing with live bullets on the ranch.
She wanted to shoot live ammo out of the guns, the TV movie guns, and I said, no effing way, obviously. Yeah. And then she acknowledged, but then down below, right, you did see where she said, okay, fine, I'm going to shoot him out of mine now.
In her police interview, Hannah shifted the blame. She shied away from questions about how the live bullets ended up on set, and instead, she blamed Baldwin.
In order to train Alec that day at the church, and we practiced some of his stuff. Other than that, he was really distracted, he was on the phone a lot, and his holster wasn't available for him to practice with that day. So I told him the next day we should practice with the holster. And he said, yeah, I agree, I will see you tomorrow. I'm also riding horses tomorrow, so we'll do that too. And I said, okay, cool.
Now, it also remains unclear whether or not Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger of the gun. He is adamant that he did not.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger. Oh, no. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
Only is it my opinion that that gun could not have gone off without pulling the trigger, but that's also the opinion of the FBI after they evaluated the firearm. Well, I can understand, however, why Alec thinks he didn't press the trigger. This is a replica of the gun that was used. I'm putting it upside down just so you can see what's going on with the trigger. If you pull the hammer back, as he said he did, and release it, the hammer does not fall and the gun would not fire. If you then press the trigger, the gun goes off. However, if you grabbed the gun like this, which we have footage that he was doing, he's applying gentle pressure to the trigger continuously, and then when he pulls the hammer back and releases it, the gun fires.
But an FBI report released last August claims otherwise. It says that Baldwin had to have pulled the trigger in order for the gun to fire. Prosecutors say that they have concrete evidence that shows Alec Baldwin did pull the trigger.
I have a hard time getting a conviction. I think they still have a number of hurdles to overcome here. First of all, they have to have a preliminary hearing. Typically in a preliminary hearing, it's pretty pro forma. Judge is just determining, is there enough evidence to send the case to trial?
Now, this case is far from over, and it's far from a slam dunk for the prosecution too. They will have to convince a jury that Alec Baldwin was so negligent that he deserves up to 5 years in prison. And many legal experts believe that Baldwin has a good shot of beating these charges. In the meantime, Alec Baldwin remains defiant. We have seen him several times since the announcement of these charges, but he is yet to give any interviews. And while it may have been over a year since this awful accident, when it comes to the criminal case and how it could impact Alec Baldwin's Hollywood career, it's fair to say that this is only just the beginning. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.